I'm joined now by the UCCS women's basketball coach, Coach Corey Laster. Thank you for joining me, Coach. I want to talk to you a little bit about the preseason. First and foremost, the Mountain Lions were projected to finish first in the RMAC preseason coaches poll. So can I get your thoughts really quickly on that projection and what that says about this team, that they're projected to finish first and that the other coaches feel as though the Mountain Lions are the best team in the RMAC? Do you think that's an accurate assessment of this team?
Yeah, I think it's a good honor for us. There's no question about it. I think it is definitely a sign as we take it on how other programs view you. I think we've been working towards trying to improve the program every year, and this is another step in the right direction. It'd be nice if the polls reflected that by the end of the season. Preseason polls is just an indicator of what you think in terms of a team is what they have available to them and what they should be able to do throughout the course of the season. But you still have to go out and play the games, and we're pretty aware of that. But I think in terms of recruiting and what we've been trying to strive for to position ourselves to be one of the best teams in the RMAC, this is definitely a great indicator of that. There is definitely going to be a tough challenge this year. There's returning champions, Colorado Mesa, who I think is a very talented team, received a lot of first place votes for a reason. Black Hills State, which I think will be a much improved team this year. Metro State, who's been winning for a long time. But those are the teams you have to beat in order to try to finish where you want to finish at. So we're very honored with the preseason voting.
So how does it feel to have that target on the back, so to speak, and that pressure to kind of live up to? Or you mentioned it being kind of an honor at the same time. So what are your thoughts on the fact that every year the Mountain Lions have finished better than the projected preseason poll? It's kind of hard to go anywhere other than first place, anything better. So how does it feel to have that target on the back and that potential pressure?
Yeah, I mean, just like you mentioned in the past, where we've been ranked in certain positions, that's not necessarily an indication of how your season's going to go. So with us being preseason picked one, every day in practice you've got to prepare as if you were the favorite, and that's been our approach for the last several years. We've always approached every game and taken every opponent seriously and respected all the competition we have in the RMAC. And I think this year with a target on our bat, you look at the Metros, you look at some of these teams I mentioned earlier, they've always been in that position. So I think it's the next step that we need to figure out how to handle. And I think already even last year we got to the point, I think, particularly by the second half of the season where, all those games were important, all those games were tough. And I think that, we talked a lot about girls, now you're in a position where people are getting up for you and they want an opportunity to take you down because of where you are in the standings. And so I tell you, I do think that there's a natural process to everything as you're developing a program and players and a team. And this is no different. You've got to, if you're going to do anything significant in the RMAC or in the NCAA tournament, you've got to get used to playing from the front. And this is what we've been working towards, and we're not afraid of it. But I do think it's some growing things that we have to get used to. But we're looking forward to the challenge. Mm-hmm.
So part of the preseason coaches poll also indicated that Abby Kirkhoff was the consensus preseason player of the year. So certainly that has to factor in the Mountain Lions being ranked number one. Can you talk a little bit about how Abby Kirkhoff is so instrumental to the team and maybe what other factors contribute to the Mountain Lions being number one other than just Abby Kirkhoff?
Yeah, I mean, she's such a terrific player, really, in terms of the guard position, everything that you would want from a coaching standpoint. She's very versatile. You can play her at the 1, you can play her at the 2 or 3, and she's even played some 4 for us as well. And it's a really testament to her hard work. I mean, she puts a lot of time in her game in the off season. I thought she came back this year and actually came back in better shape than she's ever been in her career. And as well as she's matured off the court and on the court throughout her time here. And I think, she's entering that junior year. It's kind of nice when a player begins to get motivated. So it's not just the coach that's pushing her to towards, the things that you see in her. But I really think she's a kid that's really self-motivated. I think she's really committed to her teammates. We named her captain this year, so she has some additional leadership responsibilities, and she's really done an outstanding job in our early work here so far. So she's a difficult matchup, very, very tough for teams to handle in our league, and she's as important and a big reason why we've been able to grow our program as well. So she's led us in scoring, since her freshman year, and I think that as she plays, the team plays. But she's the type of kid that understands her, what I expect out of her. So every day in practice, she brings it. She plays really hard, one of our toughest kids on a night in and night out basis. So I think she's prepared to have a really, really good year, and she understands that it's going to be about not only about what she brings, but about this entire team. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Coach Laster, you enter your 4th year here at UCCS, so 3 years at the helm here as the head coach of the women's basketball team. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution of the program and where the program has been, how far it's come to being the top team in the RMAC this season, and maybe how good that feels, to see some of that hard work paying off now?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. It's a lot of hours and a lot of sacrifices that you make. It's really, for me, I give all the credit to our players. We're very demanding staff. We ask them to do things not only in practice, but outside of practice. And I think, to be a good player, to be a good team, you have to be willing to not only commit yourself to what the coaches are trying to do, but you have to really work on your game year-round to become a good player. And ultimately, you have to sacrifice and do what you feel like your basketball team needs. And when you're first trying to build, you are trying to get as much talent as you can get just to try to get even with everybody in the RMAC, and that's not an easy task, because if you haven't won in the past, you have to convince kids that this is a place that really wants to be successful. But what I've experienced here, it's been a team effort. I don't think it's just been a coaching thing. It's been not only the players, but our administration. I think our fans, everybody that is involved in helping to this basketball team. I mean, I've even leaned on other sports programs. Our track coaches have helped us in some of our ideas when it comes to preseason workouts, strength and conditioning coach that we use. So I think it's really a collaborative effort to position ourselves. And one of the things I think we've really tried to stay true to is be consistent at what we asked our players to do, and really push them every year to make another level of commitment. And it's kind of odd to think about, like, how much more commitment can you make? You're at practice every day, and it's a long season. But honestly, winning is really, really difficult. It's not an easy task. I mean, you think about the early morning workouts, you think about the late nights, the travel that really goes into it. And I think along the way, you have girls that you kind of mix and match. You find kids that are really committed to that process, and some that just might be there for a short time to help push you along. But this core group of girls that we have, they're competitive. I think they're goal-oriented, and our junior class particularly, I point to them because it was really sort of my first group. They've been committed as a group to improve the program, and I think everybody has sort of come together to help us to position where we are currently. So we'll see what happens, and yet we're going to have especially these group of juniors for this year and next year, and hopefully that bodes well for us.
So we talked about the junior Abby Kirchhoff. Are there any other Mountain Lions we can keep an eye on this season? Maybe some surprises, some sleepers that are going to be instrumental to the success of the team that maybe the average fan might not know about?
Yeah, I think in our freshman class, we're excited about Shayna Leaf from Palmer. I think she's a kid that early on has shown an ability to score the basketball and has given some problems to our returning players. And I expect for her to be a key kid for us throughout the season and to find some opportunities for her to get on the floor on a consistent basis. And we have another freshman in Anna Humble, who's also been playing really well from Sataris High School here in Colorado. And she's been another kid as well that very athletic guard, has a lot to learn about the game, but I really like her upside. And then we have some other ones like Jen Vigil in that freshman class that's coming along nicely for us. In the sophomore class, we had great contributions from Carrie Christopher and Tori Fisher. Those two kids particularly We expect a lot out of them in their sophomore year. They were able to step in for some of the injured kids that we had in the post position, and I thought for freshmen they really did a nice job for us. We get back Taylor Garcia, who tore ACL in that sophomore class, and we're excited to have her and get her in the mix as well. And then I mentioned the junior class, but we had a transfer last year, Kelly Kruger, who was instrumental in our development. I thought she came back and really challenged her conditioning in the off season, and so far she's been looking really good for us in that class, and as well as some other kids like Brooke Baker and some ones that have improved their game steadily too. And then you talk about our senior, Jerry Pickle. She's been with me throughout my time here. I inherited her as a freshman, and I think that from a defensive standpoint, she provides really sets the tone for what we want to do on the floor, and just provides a lot of energy for us, and a very efficient scorer, and really good in transition. So she's also a captain for us. So we have a lot of people that we're excited about. Sam Patterson, we get her back as a junior post player, and we're hoping to get back Sammy Gentile too. I know she's struggled a little bit early with some physical things, but it looks like she's on her way back as well. So we have a lot of pieces that right now it's kind of the time of year where we're trying to put together the big old puzzle that we got, and so we got a ways to go for sure, but we got some good tools to work with.
So once that puzzle is all put together, what's the picture look like? What do you predict that the outcome will be this season?
Well, I'm not in predictions. I think that's not something that we really focus on. We don't focus on necessarily a set number of wins or whatever. I think we take every game and we're striving for the exact same thing. We want to be successful no matter what we do. And I think we take it day by day. That's all you can do. If I could control the other teams in the RMAC and say, hey, I could take players off, and I would definitely do that. So in Division II, you're really often impacted by transfers, and you're impacted by development, those two things. So you got to do a good job of development. And so I wish I can control who other people bring in the fold. But we will focus on us. That's our goal on a day in and day out basis. And we think if we focus in every day to try to be better, then in the end we're hoping that translates for us.
Excellent. Well, good luck this season. We wish you all the best. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate it.